Hi everyone, my name is Marcin Makaj and I am an indie game developer in my one-man studio, the Moonwalls, and an academic lecturer in the Academy of Arts in Szczecin, Poland, where I teach game design and development. I am also a real-life lawyer and an economist providing services for Polish indie game developers. My two biggest games are Bohemian Killing, a courtroom drama game mixed with a walking simulator, and Commander 85, a hardcore hacker simulator set in the 80s. Bohemian Killing was originally released for PC and Mac on the 21st of July 2016. To this day, around 35,000 copies have been sold, so you could consider the game as a financial flop. Well, this was true only in the very beginning, but I managed to turn the table and make the game very profitable. Today I will tell you how it was done and how you can use this knowledge and my experience to your own advantage. It all started 2 months after Bohemian Killing was released. Thanks to the Indie Games Poland Foundation, I had the chance to showcase my game on the Polish national booth during the Tokyo Game Show 2016. That edition of Tokyo Game Show was advertised with a slogan, "Press start to play the future." And indeed, this convention was a gate to the future in the gaming industry for me. My accomplishments during the Tokyo Game Show 2016 were so unexpected and significant that I was asked to be a part of Tokyo Game Show Experience panel during the Game Industry Conference 2016 in Poznań, Poland, where I had the chance to share those successes with other panelists and audience. So, what I've managed to accomplish during this convention? I got 4 business proposals from distributors from several Asian countries, and I've managed to sign 3 of them. In effect, Bohemian Killing was fully translated to Japanese and got professional Japanese voiceovers free of charge. It's important to emphasize that all of my games are text-heavy with tens of thousands words, so getting a new translation and voiceovers was a huge thing for me. I've also got a lot of new business contacts and experience, and the most important things of all, the idea. So, what is the idea? The idea is based on taking a part in different gaming expos, conventions, or conferences and finding new regional business partners, so the distributors based in a specific markets, which are usually hard to conquer for foreign game developers. In this idea, I've seen a chance of acquiring a new source of income, new language versions with no additional costs, getting a region-specific age ratings, and a chance for additional sales in the future. You have to remember that small region-specific distributors can be much more popular in their area of operation than huge international stores like Steam or Epic. In other words, getting a business partner you never heard of can provide you more sales and money than selling your game on well-known digital stores like Steam or Epic. Now, let's ask a question. What kind of distribution deals you can get? According to my own experience, you will usually get one of the 2 types of distribution deals. The first one is profit-sharing deal, where you provide the DRM-free version of the game, distributor sells the game in his own digital store, and you get your share of profits each month or a different period of time. The second type of distribution deal is an upfront payment for Steam keys. In this case, you provide a required amount of Steam keys, and the distributor pays a certain amount of money for each key. Obviously, usually the amount paid for each key is much smaller than the standard game's price. In most cases, the distributor buys the test amount of keys in order to verify the market's demand and ask for more keys later or not. There are also game bundles like Humble Bundle or Fanatical. In this case, your profit will depend on the number of bundle copies sold, and it's paid after the bundle is finished. There is one important thing to consider when selling Steam keys to a distributor. Let's say that your game is priced for $9.99 US per one copy on Steam, and you get around 65% of this amount. If you sell 10,000 copies on Steam for this price, it means that your final profit will reach almost $65,000. But if you sign a distribution deal and provide 10,000 copies for 20 cents each, you will earn only $2,000. It is important to answer yourself a question: should I go for it? And obviously the answer depends on your Steam sales. If, like me, you are not satisfied with this number, it might be worth to go with such a deal and provide yourself a cash injection. I've noticed one interesting thing in selling Steam keys to other distributors. Even if my business partner wanted to sign another deal and asked me for more keys, most of the previously sold keys were not redeemed on Steam by customers. Why? I can only guess, but during my research I found out that many of them have ended up on international key reselling websites. I even bought several copies to check this theory, and those were the same keys I sold to the distributor. In other words, some customers are scanning through different smaller stores, buying the keys in the cheapest source, and then trying to sell them with profits on sites like G2A or Kingwin. This is not entirely a bad thing, but it's definitely a thing to consider when deciding to sell Steam keys to a distributor or not. But let's talk about more interesting thing: additional profits. Please bear in mind that according to my own experience, you can get those advantages only when signing a profit-sharing distribution deal. I've never had any kind of additional profits when selling Steam keys. So, what kind of additional profits you can get? The first one is an advanced payment. This is definitely my favorite. You get some money upfront for signing a deal. This means you won't earn any more money from the distribution deal until this advanced payment is fully covered by sales. How much money can you get? It depends. But usually I manage to get from $1,000 to $15,000 for one deal. Please remember that not every foreign distributor will be willing or able to give you any advanced payment. It depends on the company's financial situation, the quality of your game, and the awards and nomination your game got. In many cases, the distributor's representative is able to decide about giving a game developer a certain amount of money. For example, he can offer you a $5,000 max, but if you, the developer, asks for more, the representative has to ask his supervisors, which takes time and can result in dropping the deal entirely. I had such situations several times. So it's always a good idea to be realistic when asking for an upfront payment. The second additional profit is a region-specific language version for your game. Obviously, getting a new language version can be profitable, but allowing you to require more customers in international stores like Steam. But you have to remember about three important things. First, usually the distributor will offer you a region-specific language version free of charge if your game is available in language which is not commonly spoken in his area of operation. For example, if your game is available only in English, you won't have a big chance in getting a free Dutch translation when signing a deal with a Dutch distributor, because English is a well-known language in the Netherlands. On the other hand, in the same case, you probably will get a free language version when signing a deal with a Korean, Japanese, Chinese, or Russian distributor. Secondly, if your game is text-heavy, like mine, and it would be very expensive to translate it or to make voiceovers, you may not get the advanced payment. I had such situation where the distributor decided to cancel the upfront payment in order to fully translate the game and make the voiceovers. Thirdly, in most cases, you will get an exclusivity period for the new language version. It means that you won't be able to integrate this new translation in your game outside of the distributor's store. In my experience, this period usually takes around 6 months after a distributor releases the game to his store. And after this period, you are free to use this translation in any other store you want, like for example Steam. The third of additional profits is getting a region-specific age ratings free of charge and without any of your effort. If the distributor's country of operation requires games to be distributed with a certain age rating, your business partner will be responsible of getting this age rating for you. Obviously, you can use this new age rating in different international stores where it will be displayed for the customers based in the related country. What's important, you won't get any kind of exclusivity period for age ratings. Also, some countries require you, even if you are a foreigner, to register yourself in the related tax office as a taxpayer. In such situations, your distributor should help you with all the bureaucratic work. I had such situation in Japan and my distributor helped me with everything. Now, I know that many of you want to ask me a question. Is it really worth it? Does it even work? Here are some statistics from my own experience. I've been to 15 trade events based in the United States, Canada, many European countries, China, Japan, and South Korea. During those 15 conventions, I've signed 32 distribution deals, and thanks to them, I got 6 new language versions and the full Japanese voiceovers free of charge. From those distribution deals, I have got 2.4 times bigger profits than from selling the game on Steam. This includes money earned from the upfront payments, profit sharing, and selling Steam keys. 2.4 times more money than on Steam. In 14 distribution deals, I've got an upfront payment for Steam keys. The average price per Steam key was 24 cents per copy. And as I said before, I did not get any additional profits from those deals. I've signed 18 profit sharing deals and 12 of them had an advanced payment and 6 did not. Among those 6 deals without advanced payments, 2 of them provided me a free language version. I've got 3 deals granting help with region-specific age ratings. 2 of them without any advanced payment. I've got 1 deal granting me help with registration in a region-specific tax office. As I said, in this case, it was a Japanese distributor. I've also got 1 deal with an exclusivity period for the language version, 6 months for the Korean version. Among 12 deals with advanced payments, 3 of them provided exclusive rights for the distributor in their country of operation. This means that I could not sign a deal with any other distributor from this related country. This is a timeline showcasing all of the successful trade events I've been to in 2016, 2017, and 2018, and the number of deals signed during or after those conventions. Please bear in mind that these are only 8 expos from total of 15 I've been to in the same period of time. So I'm only showing you the successful events for me. So, the game was released on July of 2016. I've signed 3 deals during Tokyo Game Show 2016, 6 deals during the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco in 2017, 1 deal during the Indigo in Utrecht, the Netherlands, 1 deal during the Out of Index in Seoul, 3 deals during the Poznan Game Arena in Poznań, 12 deals during the Game Connection Europe in Paris, 2 deals during the China Joy in Shanghai, and 4 additional deals during the Tokyo Game Show 2016. You may ask, why did you stop if the things were so great? Why did you not sign any deals in 2019 or more deals in 2018? Well, in 2018, I wanted to fully focus on my next game, Commander 85, so I signed a publishing deal with an advanced payment and granted my publisher full rights to sign, modify, or cancel any distribution deal. And in 2019, I sold all rights to my next game, Commander 85, to Polish publisher Ultimate Games, which means that they are the only copyrights owner and they can decide about the game and its future. Let's go back to our previous question now. Is it really worth it? I have another thing to consider, the costs. Obviously, going to a foreign country and taking a part in a huge convention can be very expensive. You have to take into account travel and accommodation costs, as well as trade event costs. The latter usually are out of reach for an indie game developer like myself. But there are several ways to lower it or even to go to the trade show for free. Usually during the expos, the trade shows, there are sections dedicated to the display and promotion of indie games. For example, the well-known Indie Mega Booth. They allow to showcase your game during the event with minimal costs possible. The second solution can be government fundings. It is a good idea to find out if your country provides financial help to game developers, usually through government grants and loans. For example, the Ministry of Culture and National Heritage of the Republic of Poland provides such grants, and I managed to get it several times. The third solution are game development foundations and organizations. I know at least several of them in different European, Asian, and American countries. They usually provide some kind of help in showcasing your game during international conventions. For example, in Poland, the Indie Games Poland Foundation is dedicated to build Polish national booths during different expos and offer cheap indie spots in those booths. The last solution is definitely my favorite. Simply submit your games to all competitions, awards you can find. Being a finalist, a nominee, or just an official selection, in most cases grants you a free booth or spot during the show, and sometimes even a free accommodation or other profits. I will cover those profits later. But how to choose the right events and business partners? The first thing to consider when choosing the trade event is its type. They differ in size, theme, and target audience. Obviously, if you join a huge international trade event like Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, or Poznan Game Arena, you can expect hundreds of potential business partners and even more journalists and customers. I've managed to sign deals on smaller events as well, but usually bigger events are a much safer choice. You have to take into account the theme and target audience of such trade show. Some of them are focused more on different aspects of pop culture, and some of them are only focused on games. I always prefer the latter, as I never managed to sign a deal during expos such as Fan Expo Canada or Comic Con. On the other hand, I usually got very good results on gaming expos, like mentioned before, Tokyo Game Show, Poznan Game Arena, China Joy, etc. There are also conferences and conventions focused solely on game developers, service providers, publishers, distributors, and investors. Such events, like the famous GDC in San Francisco or Game Connection in various locations, are always a good and safe choice according to my experience. There are also very small shows or even artistic exhibitions. But don't expect that they will become a game changer for you. These are great spots to meet new interesting people and see experimental games, but that's all. Don't expect to sign any deals there. The second thing to consider when choosing a trade event is the country where the expo takes place. You should familiarize yourself with the culture of this place, especially the business culture and traditions. It's very easy to offend your potential partner if not prepared correctly. I will provide more details about this matter later on. You should also know the most popular digital stores, the position and popularity of Steam or Epic stores in this country, and the popular foreign languages spoken by citizens of this country. Only by the deep research you will be able to minimize the risk of losing money and getting home without any deal. You should understand the difference between business and public days during trade events. Usually, during the business days, most people walking around will be your potential business partners and people looking to sell their services. And the public days are open to anyone with a ticket. One could think that business days are the right time to go, as it will be much easier to make a deal. This can be true, but not in every case. You have to remember that big international shows always provide you an online meeting system which help you to find representatives of every company taking part in the expo and to request a meeting. The organizers also provide a designated meeting space during the event, open during business and public days. So, more crucial than choosing between business and public days is to register and use the online meeting system as soon as it goes live. First, you should fill up your account with every important detail and information. No one will accept a meeting with a stranger who didn't even put an effort in filling his own account. Then, you should find your potential business partners as soon as possible before their calendar is full and request meetings with them. Usually, you will book those meetings during the business days, but some companies skip the business days and arrive for public days only. So it's a good idea to be and stay flexible. Also remember to check the meeting app frequently, as some companies register later than others and you may miss a business opportunity. I tend to check those business meeting systems once a week. You should also avoid searching for potential business partners by tax or types of companies. In some cases, the distribution company is also a publisher or a third-party provider and is registered as one. So you could not find them if browsing only the distribution companies. Always try to read the entire description of this company, as it might hold a key to finding the right business opportunity. And even if you find a distributor which may appear too big and important to talk to me, or a distributor that clearly focuses on a very specific type of games, it is always a good idea to keep calm and request a meeting, fully describing your case. If they won't be interested in meeting you, they will for sure let you know. And if they decide to accept the meeting, you will know that you have a chance to sign a deal. A friend of mine made a PC game and signed a deal with a Chinese mobile games publisher. The deal was so promising that my friend decided to port his game to mobile on his own. And as I heard, it was one of the best business decisions in his career. So, remember to be flexible when choosing potential business partners and to always describe your case in the meeting's request. I always try to tailor each message to the specific business partner. During my research, I try to focus on the most popular type of games and platforms in the related country and the distributor's portfolio. In my message, I always describe how my game corresponds to those findings and why it may be profitable for the distributor. Also, the date and time of meeting is important. Usually, the trade events are organized outside of city, so getting there may take some time, except traffic and lots of people on site. Because of the enormous amount of visitors trying to get to the expo, full metro trains and huge line in front of gates, you may be late for several meetings. With this experience and with my mistakes where I was lost when I was late for several meetings, I always prefer to request a meeting 1 hour after the gates are open. I've also noticed that at the end of the day, the potential business partners are less interested in what I have to offer them, which is understandable taking into account the number of meetings they had during the day. So, don't request meetings in the early morning or the lunch times, and try to avoid locking the last day's meeting windows. And when we have all the meetings planned, it's time to prepare for those meetings. First of all, check the company. There's a great chance that you won't have any knowledge about this specific company you are meeting with. In most cases, they operate in a market unknown to you. They have a digital store in a foreign country running in a language you probably don't know. So it's a good idea to do some additional research. First, find their store page. Its name probably won't ring any bells, so try to look for other country-specific websites that have references to your potential business partner. You are looking for stuff like articles, reviews, news referencing this specific store and distributor. The more the better. You want to make sure that your potential business partner is actually as popular and important in his area of operation as he tells you. Next, verify the store page and products. Do they have the most popular indie games in their offer? How rich is their offer? Try to find out several things. If they have similar games to yours, if they provide info on the age ratings and language versions for each game, and if they have any in their offer, if they have any game made by your friends or your colleagues. If they offer similar games, there is a good chance that they will be interested in your work. If they operate, for example, in South Korea, and most games they offer are translated to Korean, you can be sure there is a great chance that you will get a Korean language version as well. If they provide info on age ratings for each game, your game will get one as well. Please keep in mind that this usually takes some time. I was waiting several weeks for a Korean rating. And if they have games made by your friends, call and ask them about the cooperation. Ask them about the advantages and disadvantages of this cooperation. Being open and politely asking my friends about their experiences with a certain distributor have saved me several times. So it's always a good idea to ask your friends. You can also find in their store and buy the most similar game to your own. I did it several times when the store did not provide any info on the language version or the other stuff that might change in the game comparing to the original version of the game, like for example available on Steam. By buying such game, you will be able to find out if the game was translated or not, or if the game was modified from its original form. I will cover this topic later on. Let me give you an example now. If the original game available on Steam had a level set in Tibet, and the version sold by the Chinese distributor does not have this specific level, there is a risk that you will be asked to modify your game as well if there is anything against the local law, religion or traditions. As I told you a second ago, I will speak more about this topic later on. It is also a good idea to verify social media of this potential business partner, like Facebook, Instagram or Twitter and others. Check how many followers they have, if their posts gets a lot of reaction from fans or not, and how often the distributor is active in their social channels. Next, check the country. I said about it before, but it's worth to mention it again. Learn what foreign languages are popular in that place. If they have a specific rating system, if the game has to be approved by officials before the release, or the popularity of other stores in this market. All of these informations will be a good leverage when negotiating a deal. Let me give you a quick example on how to use such knowledge. If your potential business partner likely orders you to modify the content of your game, you will be prepared to ask for a better deal. With such deep knowledge, you will know what to expect, decide if you are ready for such cooperation or not, and finally, know what the distributor has to offer. But always remember that you won't meet a company. You will meet a person with his own or her interests, motivations, and preferences. The most crucial thing for you is this person's position in the company. You should know if you talk to the CEO who can make decisions on his own, or you talk to the scout or other lower representative of the company who has to ask his supervisors about your demands. This is very important to find this out before the actual meeting. I once had a situation where once had a business meeting in China where I didn't prepare correctly for the meeting, and the person I had the meeting with gave me his business card. The business card was all in Chinese, so I didn't understand it, and back then I had no idea that I was talking to the CEO of the company. It is a good idea to try to find this person in social media like LinkedIn before the meeting. It usually tells you everything you need to know about this person. You should look for any piece of information that may be relevant to the meeting. For example, if the person is a gamer, or if the person likes the type of game you made, or even if this person has similar career or education to you. Such information can be used to tailor the conversation and keep it going. In several cases, I did not only sign the deal, but I also made a good friend who had similar interests or hobbies. And finally, you should ask yourself a question. Will this person like my game? If yes, why? If not, why? What can I do to present my game to this person the best I can? And we'll talk about it later on. And now we move to the actual meeting. And I will answer next question. How to negotiate the best deal possible? First of all, remember about those crucial rules. First, no one will give you a good deal without your effort. If you just sit there and wait for a miracle to happen, you will better have a truly amazing game. But in such case, you probably wouldn't need to go through all of this. Secondly, don't expect generosity. Both you and your potential business partner represent their own interests, and both sides are there for profit, not for charity. Thirdly, time is money. Your meeting will last for about an hour, so you need to convince the representative in this given time. And lastly, you are neither the first one nor the only one they are negotiating with. They've probably seen it all, heard it all, and you are not a prince or a princess they were waiting for their entire lives. Be polite, be respectful, and don't act like you know it all. Keep calm and be prepared to be criticized or rejected. I will now share with you several of my favorite negotiation tactics. The first one is called the Operation Self-Confidence. You are probably the only person in the whole world who knows your game so well. If you cannot sell your game and yourself in such a simple talk, no one will be able to do it for you. Many people I had a meeting with told me that they rarely see a person with such a strong conviction that their game can be successful. In several cases, this strong self-confidence has granted me a deal. So if you don't believe in your game, no one will. The next tactic is called the Operation Knowledge. You need to know what to expect. These are all the small pieces of information I was talking about previously. So, you need to know if your potential business partner runs an important digital store in their area of operation or not. If there is a real chance that they will translate your game to a different language. Or if there are any official requirements for a game to be released in that specific country, etc., etc. If you have this kind of knowledge, you will show your potential business partner that you are serious about this cooperation and you will be able to react accordingly to their offer. The third tactic is called the Operation Overwhelm. I like to use this kind of tactic when someone has doubts in myself or my game. If your game is a part of an official selection, or if it was nominated or won any kind of award, or even if you are working with someone famous, use this knowledge when the moment is right. But don't brag about it, keep it aside and use it when needed. Let me give you a quick example. One of the voice actors from Bohemian Killing is a movie actor and had a talking role in Saving Private Ryan by Steven Spielberg. When once a potential business partner criticized the quality of this actor's voice acting, I simply told him about this actor's experience and finished with a sentence. If Steven Spielberg decided that this actor is good enough to play in his movie, then he is perfect for a small indie game. So, if a representative tells you that your game is very niche and won't reach their market, simply tell this person about the awards and nominations your game had in his country or similar games which became popular there. Obviously, to use this kind of argument, you must have some leverage. So the simplest hint I can give you right now would be this. Submit your game to any competition, official selection, or awards you can find. It will be useful in some point of your career in the gaming industry. Okay, so the next tactic is called the Operation Retences. This one is more complicated one and could use some practice. In this tactic, you don't lie about yourself or your game, but you just don't tell them everything and allows their imagination to work for you. It will be easier to explain with some examples. Bohemian Killing is a Coach from Jama game, and while it was in production in development, I was a law student working in a prosecutor's office. Obviously, I did not work as a prosecutor, but it didn't stop me from telling everyone that the game was made by a person working in a prosecutor's office. I didn't tell anyone that I was a prosecutor, so it wasn't a lie. And it actually worked. Some people would think that I was a real prosecutor, but it was just their imagination, not what I've told them. Or maybe a different example. I've once met one of the most famous game designers in the world during one of the Gamescom parties. I showed him on my iPad a video of my game, Bohemian Killing, and with a quick glance he said that the game looks interesting, looks cool. Later, on several business meetings in different parts of the world, I said that this game designer said that Bohemian Killing is interesting and cool. I never said that this person played my game, only that he said this game is interesting. Now, let's move to the next tactics. Operation Trial Balloon and Operation Dead Fish. They are quite easy to use. During the trial balloon, you ask questions about hypothetical agreement and observe the reaction. These questions allow you to gain additional knowledge without making a commitment to anything. Let me give you an example. You can ask, would you be willing to buy more than 10,000 Steam keys if a game would won many awards and got critical acclaim? If the person agrees, you know this is the right time to use the overwhelm tactic and tell these persons about your game successes, awards, nominations, etc. During the Operation Dead Fish, you present your offer, which is much higher than the one you would agree to. For example, you say, I would sign a contract granting you an exclusive deal to sell my game in Japan if you pay me $10,000 and translate my game to Japanese. End of quote. When in reality you would agree to sign such a deal without any advance payment or with much smaller money up front. Thanks to using this technique, you have a chance to observe your counterpart's reaction and lower your demands during the negotiations to the level you wanted to achieve from the beginning. In other words, it leaves you some place for future negotiations. The last negotiation tactic I like to use is called the Operation Brooklyn Optician. In this case, you don't negotiate the entire deal at once, but split it into smaller sections and negotiate them separately. For example, don't tell your potential business partner that you want an advanced payment and a free language version at the start of the meeting. Present your game first and finalize the decision if they want to distribute the game or not. Then move forward and negotiate the new language version, then negotiate the advance payment, etc. Each segment at a time. So, when you are done with negotiations, it's time to sign a contract. Keep in mind that usually you will get a draft of such document by email several days or weeks after the first meeting. There are several mistakes people make when signing such contracts, and there are several ways to secure yourself. First off, people don't read contracts or don't understand them. Always remember not to sign anything you didn't read or you don't understand. Secondly, don't be afraid of lawyers. If you want to earn big, you have to be ready to spend some money. A professional lawyer will help you sign the best deal possible and to protect your own interests. It's much better to hire a lawyer before signing a contract than to hire him when you have a problem with your business partner. Thirdly, don't agree to anything which is not written down in the contract. Gentlemen agreements don't legally bind any part of such deal. If you want to change or add anything to the contract and the counterpart tells you it's not necessary and that they will respect this point, refuse and politely ask to write everything in the legal contract. Hire a lawyer and ask him to write a new contract if you must. But don't expect the counterpart to respect something that hasn't been written down in the deal, in the contract. And remember one golden rule. Legal contracts are not for the time of peace, but for the time of war. They are complex to predict all possible outcomes and secure both sides of the contract. But never believe that your business partner will secure your own interests in the way they should. That's yours and your lawyer's job. During the economic school, the university teachers always said to read The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Do it. It will be very useful to understand the mechanism behind both war and business. Even if thousands years old, it's still one of the most accurate books on the market. I also want to share with you several conflicts and tips from my own deals. The first one, flexibility is a key. I once had an opportunity to sign a deal with a distributor from one of the Muslim countries, where alcohol is illegal. In Bohemian killing, alcohol usage is an important part of one of the line of defense, but it would cause troubles in that specific market. Before even making my own demands during the business meeting, I offered the counterpart that I can remove all the alcohol references from the game. They were surprised and grateful that I have so much respect for their religion and culture. And finally, the deal was signed. The second one, communicate with your business partners. If you had a business meeting, write them an email. Give them your thanks and a summary of this meeting. They had so many meetings that they could simply forget about you and your game. Again, don't remain silent and wait for a miracle. If they don't respond to your first email, wait a week and send another. In a case the first email was rejected as a spam or simply missed. After one of the conventions, I was waiting for an email from my business partner, and it happened that they have lost my business card and in effect forgot entirely about the meeting. So if I didn't send them an email later, I would miss a deal. And my last tip. You have to be able to simply let it go. You won't get every deal, and no matter how much you tried, sometimes it won't work. You have to remember to be professional about it and respectful. Even if the deal was rejected, be ready to thank your counterpart for a meeting and keep their business card for later. Don't burn your bridges. I had to let it go much more times than to sign a deal, and you should be ready for it. And to summarize everything I told you today, distribution deals can really save your career in the gaming industry and your indie studio. Secondly, you have to choose the trade events and potential business partners wisely. Always remember to do some research before the meeting. Third, prepare for every meeting. Fourth, learn to negotiate to secure yourself the best deals possible. Fifth, hire a lawyer so you then don't have to worry later. And sixth, be self-confident, respectful to others, and remember that communication is a key to good business relations. Thank you, and if you have questions, you may ask them by email or after the session. Thank you very much.
Hello again, everyone. I really would like to thank you for joining me today. We have one question. If you sell 10,000 copies in deal for 20 cents, aren't you lowering your example Steam sale number? Well, this is completely true. That's why my first deal when I sold Steam keys was almost 8 or 10 months after the original release. You have to remember that I make very niche games that are targeted to the very specific audience. So if someone is my target audience, he probably buys the game at the very beginning. I believe that if my game or any other game has low sales after several months, like after those 6 to 8 months, my game sales were compared to nothing really. I could buy like a movie theater ticket for the money I earned on Steam. And that's why I decided this is a good idea and this is a good moment to actually start selling those keys to distributors. My first experience with bundles or with selling Steam keys was actually pretty funny. It was the December of 2016. So it was actually fewer months that I told you, but this was a completely different case. I was asked by the Humble Bundle to join their Humble Jingle Jump Bundle, where all the proceedings went to the charity. So none of the developers earned anything. And the first, I wanted to really help the charity. I wanted to help the Humble Bundle and deliver them, give them Steam keys to my main game, Bohemian Killing. But then a friend of mine told me, and one of my closest business partners, he told me not to give them the full game, but to give them keys for the DLC. We have one DLC for the Bohemian Killing available on Steam. So I sent them several tens of thousands Steam keys to this DLC. So we gave out this DLC for free. This DLC was downloaded multiple times. But in order to play this DLC, you obviously had to own the full game. And this went with the lowest Steam sale in the history, where the main game was available for, as far as I remember, $1.99. So this was my first Steam key reselling experience. And the next one was several months later after I think it was after the GDC. Yeah, so I do believe that selling your Steam keys at the very beginning may not be a good idea, but after your game is available on the market for some time and you see that the sales aren't as good as you expected or as good as you wanted them to be, this may be a good idea to consider to sell those keys even for the 20 cents. So if there are no more questions, I would like to thank you one more time for joining me today and for hearing my session. And I hope to see you again during the next Game Industry Conference. Thank you very much.